Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach 2024. It's going to be Teamlists Tuesday, probably coming out on a Wednesday, but we're going to be going through the weekly release. It's always an exciting time, and there's big ramifications in this round, especially. I mean, round one, obviously we get a lot of potential cheapies and players getting a spot and this and that, but round two, there's a lot of guys that are coming in with like under injury clouds. There's a few up in the air. Also, just are they going to retain a spot? Also, we get to see the Tigers for the first time. I'm excited to see how their team shapes up. And we're going to go straight into the Broncos v Rabbits. Now, I do know Jai Arrow is out injured. I don't know what the latest word is. I heard, like, originally it was like 4 weeks, but could be as long as a season out for Jai Arrow, which, I mean, I take it for what it is. Take it for what it is. I think even 4 weeks out, I do think he's a trade. But let's go through the team list here for the Bronx. Looks pretty stock standard. Corey Jensen keeps the starting spot. Brendan Piakora, so I sort of forgot about Piakora. He does get named, which is good. I mean, maybe he gets delayed symptoms and he's ruled out, but the fact that they've named him, it seems like he's good to go. But I guess keep an eye on Piakora. It is the first game of the round, so you'll get plenty of time to know if Piakora is out with that concussion. But the fact he's named, I think it's good signs. And then Marty Tapau is still on the bench in place of Xavier Willison, which I still think is a little bit strange. But I don't know. Early in the season, maybe Walters just wants to get the young guy some match fitness in the lower grades. I'm not too sure, but yeah, not too much else. I mean, Jesse Arthur's obviously a bit of a super coach potential now. I mean, he was always a popular option. I didn't start with him at 380k, but he looked good. He looked good in round one, even with the Broncos not performing. He scored well. His work rate was much better than it was, like, because that was the problem with Arthur's, right? He's a winger, so he obviously had games where he scored a try, scored a double, but the in-between, like, he wasn't getting involved as much, but it seems like he's worked on it. I mean, the back end of last year and starting this year, we'll see him for another week, see if the work rate continues, the base is there, then I mean, he could be a very good option to potentially go to, but it's an awkward price. It's an awkward price if you didn't start with him. For the Rabbits, so Jacob Gagai is still named, which is great. Richard Kennar is still there, which, I mean, I guess Jack Wyden is still not back till was it next round or round 4? I can't remember. But, he didn't have a great game, but at the end of the day, like, it was round 1. It would be weird to, I guess, change up the combination for a week or two and then change it up again. So it makes sense that Kennar keeps his spot. Like, you don't want to make that many wholesale changes to the center spot when there's going to be a new man in a couple of weeks anyway. So it makes sense, and it's good that Gagai is still there. I mean, Gagai, it would have been pretty surprising if he was dropped. I mean, he looked good. I mean, his work rate was good. He was busy. The Rabbits weren't at their best again, but I thought he was pretty solid. He was safe, scored a nice try. So I think hopefully he's got the spot until Ty Munro comes back. There is a bit of conjecture around other players potentially coming in. You got Tane Milne, you got Thompson, but if Gagai can just eke out a couple of price rises, that'd be beautiful. Going down, Sean Kepi obviously still starts. Tallis Duncan. Okay, so Tallis Duncan is the man to replace Jai Arrow. That is very, very Supercoach relevant because, I mean, I think anyone who's watched Tallis Duncan at all knows he is going to be a Supercoach gun. There is no doubt about that. The kid is a freak, and he's just got the Supercoach game in him. So he's got the edge spot. Murray obviously at lock. The bench, what are we looking at? So it's a 4 middle forward bench, which, I mean, is good for Well, I was going to say good for Duncan. It doesn't necessarily mean it's good or bad, but the fact is Murray, they've openly said they want Murray to play like big minutes. And last game as well, Murray went into the back row. Arrow had a spell and they brought on probably like Havili to play lock. So it doesn't necessarily mean more minutes for Duncan. I think Murray still potentially goes to the back row at certain points and Duncan may get a rest, but still, it's not a bad thing. Who else is out? Oh, that's right. Host, Jacob Host is out. Yeah, so that's interesting. I haven't heard if Host... He must have an injury, right? He must have an injury because Host was the backup second rower. He was on the bench last game. I mean, I don't particularly think Host is that good. I've never really been a huge fan, but obviously they like him at the Rabbits, and it's not like he played awful in round one. He played like 10, 15 minutes, I think. So, he must have an injury. So I think Duncan, it's honestly perfect because Duncan didn't even have a bench role last week. So he gets 3 weeks now before his first price rise. So you can just wait a couple of weeks on Duncan to see if he keeps the spot. If Jacob Host comes back and takes over that spot, it'll be a wait and see for me. I'm sure there'll be some people that are eager to jump on, and he could kill it this week and score well, but I don't know. The fact Host is not there, I'd be a little bit cautious with jumping on Duncan early. I just think it's a bit of a luxury trade, I would say. And then Shaq Mitchell comes in obviously for Host, I guess, which I think is good for them because I thought Shaq Mitchell was really good last year when he had to play with a lot of the middle forwards out. He provides some pretty good impact. It's probably not good for Moale, for Moale owners. I mean, if you got Moale, you sort of knew what you were in for. 30s, I would say, but for middle forwards, it's not the minutes. It's probably, I don't know, it might not be good for Sean Kepi owners either with a 4 middle bench, but I guess a lot of these guys are not big minute front rowers anyway, so probably Kepi's still good for that 40 to 50 minutes you would expect, so it probably won't change too much. That's the Bronx Rabbits. We'll move on to Sharks Bulldogs. So this is also mainly the Bulldogs. It'll be interesting to see who gets the spots. So Connor Tracy comes straight onto the wing. I guess people are probably hoping Jerry would come in at center. Looking at this, I'd probably expect... Well, I mean, Connor Tracy can play wing. I think he's probably better at centre, and I probably think Jacob Kiraz is better on the wing, so I wouldn't be shocked to see Kiraz go to the wing and Tracy go into the centre, but, I mean, I don't know. They might just switch. They might just switch at times. Who else? So, anything else of note for the Doggies? Farmasili still has the starting spot, which fucking doesn't really mean much, does it? Like the first 20 minutes, and that's it. Jamin Salmon is still the starting lock, and again you get another look at Salmon this week because I mean last week he didn't score well, but it was also like I don't think Salmon's very good at all if I'm being frank, but he was shifted to center for he played the full 80, but he was shifted to center and didn't really do much. So you'll get a better look this time as long as there's no injuries for the outside backs. We'll see his minutes a bit clearer. We'll also see, Josh Curran's still there. We'll see what their rotation is like better. Is Salmon still going to play 50, 60 minutes? That's the thing. If Salmon does play 50 to 60 minutes at lock, it's I didn't start with him and I'm happy I didn't, but it'll be a good watch to see this game, to see how the minutes shape up. But I don't know. Just the fact Kurt Mann's there and Josh Curran, because Curran definitely came on through the middle last week, and he played big minutes, but was that affected at all by the injury? Maybe not. I mean, obviously, Farmasili's not playing big minutes. Sam Hughes isn't, and Curtis Morin. So there are minutes in the middle for Curran. I think he more played as a prop. So, I mean, hopefully he gets the dual front row forward, second row flexibility. But I don't know. It's sort of hard because the locks obviously don't have dual front row forward stocks. So I don't know. It's hard to sort of prove that he's playing front row rather than lock. So I don't know what they're going to do. They might not. But yeah, another good wait and see on these dog players to see if you need to grab them for next week, I think. I mean, Drew Hutchison, yeah, I don't know. I faded him as well. I'm pretty happy about it. I just can't see him being that good at 350k. For the Sharkies, not much doing. Pretty much the same. Except, so Toby Rudolph comes into the starting lineup for Royce Hunt, which, man, oh man, I'm, there were some bad decisions last week, but one bad decision I didn't make was going Royce Hunt, thankfully. I was somewhat keen until I saw the 4 middle bench. I was like, I'm not going to take that punt. But yeah, he had a shocker and now he's been relegated back to the bench. So not good for people that went Royce Hunt. But yeah, not too much. I mean, Jack Williams, fuck, when Paul Gallen retired, I really thought Jack Williams should have been the man to take over that lock spot. For whatever reason, he never did. I know he had some injuries. Yeah, he had quite a few injuries, I guess, in between after Gallen retired. But I always thought Jack Williams is a guy that can really kick on. And I don't know, his minutes have increased. I was sort of keen to have a look at him because, again, but the 4 middle bench is just a bit of a nightmare. But yeah, I really like Jack Williams. I feel like he should be playing bigger minutes. I think he's very undervalued at the moment at the Sharks, but not too much else, honestly. Obviously, we're hoping for a Nico Hines bounce back. I mean, fucking surely, dude. If Hines has a shocker this week against the Dogs, or if he plays well but doesn't score well, geez, I don't know. Do you trade him out? Bulk some cash, maybe. I don't know. But hopefully he just comes out and gets a big 150. That would be lovely. But yeah, not too much else. I mean, Connor Tracy coming in doesn't really change anything because he's pretty expensive and you're not going to go Tracy. I don't know what he is exactly, but it'd be at least mid 450s. Like every time Tracy is played, he scores well. So he never is like a starting player, but he's always too expensive when he does get the spot. He's just a bit of an annoyance when he comes in. But I do like him as a player. Panthers v Eels. So this should be a good game. Well, maybe if the Panthers pull their heads out of the sand here. No, I mean, obviously Mitch Kenny is back. Who else? The back line is the same as you'd expect. Kenny obviously comes straight in. Scott Sorensen is back, which is good for them. Lee Munyo. Sonny Luke keeps the 14 spot, which I gotta say, that is strange to me because I actually thought Luke Summerton was pretty good. I guess Summerton is not a real attacking dummy half, so they've already got Mitch Kenny that is non-attack. He's just straight up and down. He doesn't provide much outside of defense for the Panthers, which is fine. It works well for them. I guess Summerton is similar, so I guess they've gone with Sonny Luke as a bit of a X factor, but he just doesn't look like he gels with the attack. I don't know. I'm surprised he's got the 14, but fair enough. Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry. So Liam Henry does keep the spot. I was a little bit. That's why I didn't start with Henry. I wasn't sure with Sorensen to come back into the team and Mitch Kenny. I thought he would drop out potentially, but yeah, he's got the reserve still. It'll be interesting to see his minutes going forward, but obviously a decent cheapy front rower. Probably, I mean, at the moment, after one game, he's probably the pick of them, but I mean, you got to wait and see to see if the minutes continue. Luke Garner there, and then who's dropped? I mean, Matt was Eisenhuth, I guess, is out from the reserves, which is probably fair enough. And then the Eels, so Moses is named. The rest of the back line is as intended. Joey Lussick still the starting dummy half. Sean Lane still there, obviously. And yeah, same 17. So Brendan Hand still as the 14. I gotta be honest, I was half expecting Brendan Hands to not get the 14 because Lussick was really good. And I thought, okay, maybe they are just working Lussick into 80 minutes. And I was sort of hoping that Brendan Hands wouldn't get named. But, I mean, Arthur, he loves having a utility / dummy half on the bench. Like, he did it with his son last year all the time. And there were so many games where he didn't play any minutes or he came on with like 5 minutes to go. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. But Lussick could be one of these guys that plays big minutes, but you just, I don't know, you just can't pick him up because the worry of Hands taking minutes off him is annoying. But I don't know, he's only priced at 300k though. That's the thing. It's yeah, he's probably a better option than Danny Levi if I'm being honest. He is more expensive, but yeah. We'll see. We'll see how that shapes up. But yeah, not too much else doing there with the Panthers and Eels. Again, hoping for a Cleary bounce back. I mean, surely the Panthers get up against the Eels. I mean, the Eels always give them, they always give them trouble in the regular season, but Panthers know that. So that they got to be up and about. Okay, here we go. The Raiders v the Tigers. This is a very interesting team list, actually. So Rapana still a fullback. Chris has come into the centres, and Nick Kotrick is out with Albert Hopewade to the wing, which I think is the right decision because I think Savage is just better than. I mean, Kotrick was pretty good in round 1, but he hasn't been great. I think Savage just provides that spark that the Raiders desperately need. They need someone with a little bit of spark in their team. And I think Savage is the guy. Ethan Strange is still the number 6 with Fogarty. Let's look at the Tigers. So I see Lockie Kelvin. I heard that potentially he was going to get the spot, which, I mean, I got to be honest. I started with Kelvin as my second 5'8". So that is pretty nice, I gotta say. Not that I'm expecting big things, but I mean, having a cheapie that potentially can score well and hopefully play well, it's pretty nice to see on the old team list, I gotta be honest. He's partnering Jane Sullivan. Interesting. Junior Tupou, Solomona Fatape. I'm assuming a cheapie. Okay, so we get another cheapie in the centre wing for the Tigers. I guess there was a spot open there. I didn't. Yeah, we did. I guess we didn't really know who was going to get the centre spot at the Tigers, did we? Stafford. I mean, I guess Kepaoa was probably the guy we were tipping. Well, I was probably expecting to get the spot, but no, we got a young guy there. So. Again, the Tigers didn't play last week, so you can watch and wait to see before any price changes for the cheapies for the Tigers, which is nice. And then, yeah, Buller, Staines, Toa, expected. And then the forward pack, so same old for the Raiders, except, yeah, Zach Hosking is still there. Elliot Whitehead is obviously still out. Jeez, man, if I knew... I don't know how long Elliot Whitehead is out for, but man, Hosking would have been a pretty good pickup if Whitehead was going to be out for a while. But I don't know. I haven't really heard much about Whitehead, the injury. I'll have to see. But yeah, everything else as you'd expect. The Tigers: Utukamanu, Coruscant, Clemmer, Papali, Bateman. So yeah, Bateman is at back row and Seyfarth is at lock. So I was half tempted to go Seyfarth last week, before lockout, because he was the starting lock in the trials, but there was always just a nervousness about going him just in case, Bateman played at lock, or they went with Matamua or someone else there, Polay potentially, and Seyfarth on the bench. He's priced pretty cheap. He's priced 300k, so Another wait and see to see the minutes. I'm not disappointed I didn't start with him because again we don't know the minutes for Seyfarth. But yeah, another good wait and see there on another potential Tigers player. And then the benches, so the same for the Raiders, and then we have Caesar is the 14 with Pale Twal and Samuela Fainu. And yeah, Kepa Oa is the 18th man. That is, I gotta be honest, I'm shocked that Caesar is the 14. I don't know. I'm a little stunned. Personally, like, I get Benji has big raps on Galvin, so yeah, throw the kid out there, that's fine, but like, wouldn't you start with Caesar with the young kid? Like, I know Sullivan has potential. I don't know, personally, I've never seen that much from Sullivan, even with all the hype, but I don't know, like, it could be a late switch. I wouldn't be shocked to see a late switch come team, like, kick off with Caesar going out there and maybe Galvin or Sullivan going to the bench. I wouldn't be shocked to see that because, yeah, it just seems weird to have like two kids and the experienced guy on the bench, because I think Caesar's pretty good and I thought he looked good in the trials. Like, he's got a great kicking game, he's a good organizer, he's a decent defensive half. I'm a little surprised, but I do like to see Lockie Galvin there. Regardless, even if he goes back to the bench, he could still get some decent minutes somewhere. So, yeah, a good wait and see on the Tigers come game day. Really, I'm shocked though. I'm shocked. Cowboys Knights coming up. So again, the Knights, there's a big one to look at. The Cowboys, as you'd expect, no changes. The Knights, so yeah, Thomas Jenkins comes in for Nrl Supercoach. I mean, I gotta be honest, I was a little surprised again that Jenkins didn't start in round one over Tuala. Like, I think Tuala is a good player. Like, I think he's a very good depth centre winger that can cover positions and do a job. But I think Thomas Jenkins he's a pretty damn good player, and I think he is better than Tuala. So I think this is stronger for the Knights. I think he's going to be better as a ball carrier from their own 20-meter line as well, like stronger carrier, and just, yeah, overall just a more solid player than Tuala. I think a bit disrespectful because I think Tuala is good, but I think Jenkins is a bit better, if I'm honest. And then, yeah, halves still Tyson Gamble, Jackson Hastings. So, you know, Cogger hasn't got rid of Gamble yet. I wouldn't be surprised to see it happen at some point with the way the night started. And then the forward pack, there you go. So, Saifidi, Thompson, Crossland, Frizzell, Kai, Pierce, Paul, and Adam Elliott. So, this is big. This is very, very big, Supercoach-wise. I mean, Pierce Paul, he played 40 minutes last week, probably due to the injury. I don't know if he was going to play that many minutes without the injury, but he scored well. He scored like 40 points, so it's not like a yeah. Oh man, I don't know. It's gonna be tough not to bring him in, but the worry is always going to be. Again, we'll probably have to see how long Dylan Lucas is out for, because I know it was a head knock but a potential broken jaw. I don't know if it got confirmed as a broken jaw or anything more serious, because if it was just a head knock, then and Dylan Lucas comes back the next round, Pierce Paul goes straight back to the bench, all of a sudden, you know, he could play 20-30 minutes off the bench. It could be a bit of a nightmare, but I mean, he is watching him last week when he came on. He's such a he's the tallness of like a Sean Lane, but like more athletic. And every time he ran the ball, like you could just see him. He's got the arm primed to offload. He got an offload for like a try assist. And I mean, he's going to be on that left-hand side outside of Ponga. Like, it's just, it's so juicy, man. It's so juicy to go straight to Pierce Paul. And the fact, like I said, he played last week. His price rise is going to happen in round 3. So it depends. Like I said, he only scored 40 points. He didn't go like 50, 60. So if he doesn't go massive this week, it's not like his price rise is going to be obscene, but he is at a cheap, like he's 350, I think he is 350 odd. So even if he has a couple of good games, he could, his price could get a little bit tricky if you wait for him. That's the big issue with Pierce Paul. You might just have to, and that's the decision I'll have to make. Do I, take the punt on him early? We'll see. But I guess I've got a couple of obvious trades I need to make. Probably before Pierce Paul. So we'll see. I'll have to have a look at my team and work it out. But Cowboys, I think yeah, they are 1-17. Same bench as well. The Knights, so Cogger, Saifidi, Hetherington, Cartwright. So yeah, Cartwright comes in. Again, Cartwright is an edge back rower, so does he come on and spell Pierce Paul potentially? You wouldn't expect him to come on for Frizzell, but you never know. One guy I'm actually, Saifidi, when I was talking about front rowers, I kept sort of looking at Saifidi, and I remember looking up his stats for previous years, and they just were always so underwhelming, but he went pretty good. Like, he's only priced, I think he's only a tick over 400k, and he scored about 50 points in all base. I think it was pretty much all base, and the Knights were pretty shocking last week. So Jacob Saifidi could be a sneaky option to go with Arrow, because obviously I'm going Spencer Leniu up to Terrell May, and then Jai Arrow pretty much has to go. And we could bring in Saifidi. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to have another look at the front rows. I'll go more in depth when I do the preview and look at options. But Saifidi is I don't know. I'm not that keen on him. But the other thing I was going to say was the bench. Like, you've got a dummy halfback. You've got a front rower, and then a back rower. So there's only 2 genuine front rowers, and Hetherington doesn't play big minutes anymore. So, maybe it's Saifidi season, maybe. But nothing too much else. I mean, it's just, Kai Pierce Paul is very, very tempting now. Then we move into the Storm Warriors. I don't think is there too much to, I guess the ins. Okay, so still no Cameron Munster, which is pretty big for the Storm still. The rest of the back line is as you'd expect. And I think, without having Munster, it'd be annoying. Like, if you went Pappenhausen early as the pod play, it would be annoying with Munster not there. Pappenhausen can still do damage, but having Munster in the team as that attacking threat, it just opens up so many more options for Pappenhausen to play outside him. So it is a bit of a bummer for people who went Pappenhausen, the fact that Munster is still not back. But Jonah Pezzett, good player for sure, but he's no Cameron Munster. Then we got forward. So Joe Chan keeps the second row spot. I mean, again, I'm not going to go him this week, obviously. It's another good wait and see on minutes and also how he scores, because he did not score great and his minutes weren't great last week. Ali Katoa looked fantastic. Trent Liero actually looked good at lock. And then the forward pack. So, no Solomona either, which is also a pretty big detriment, especially coming up against the Warriors pack. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Storm. I mean, I know they look great in round 1, and I know the Warriors didn't look that good. I mean, the Warriors, it was a weird game, that Sharks-Warriors, because the Warriors did look good. It was just the fact that, Johnson just had a bit of a shocker, if I'm honest. He just kept kicking the fucking ball, and their attack just looked so clunky. But the forward pack and a lot of their players looked really good. So I think this could be a very, very tough game for the Storm. I just think their forward pack is a little bit outclassed in this one. But, you know, the Storm, they turn up early in the season, so it's going to be a good game regardless. Looking at the Warriors, though, so yeah, obviously Tuapiki still there. Nothing else has changed. Wade Egan is named, which is a little bit surprising. It looked like a pretty nasty elbow injury or wrist. Like his hand got stuck under a player and he sort of like, it looked like it hyperextended. So, I mean, it's good to see him named. He's very key to that team and the attacking like they do, like just his play around the ruck. I've done such a 180 on Egan. Like I always thought he was not very good, or at least I didn't. The way he played, I was like, he's way too flashy. I just don't like the way he plays our dummy half. But honestly, since he's gone to the Warriors, I think he works really well with their forward pack and just he just gives so much room and space for like Fanua Blake and guys like that around the ruck. They just score so many tries because of Egan, his threat out of dummy half. It's very key to their attack. The rest of it's as you'd expect. Kirk Capel was in a bit of doubt, but he's named, and then yeah, Freddie Lussick's still there. I think it's same team. So yeah, tough game. Not too much else for me personally, Supercoach wise. I mean, again, I watch on Joe Chan to see how he performs because again, I mean, if I could go to a cheapie to free up cash, if he's looking good, I would love to. But if he's not going to make any cash, then you don't really want to. Then we got the Eagles Roosters. Should be another. Honestly, I'm excited for this game as well. Jason Saab is out, and yes, as predicted, Tommy Talau is the winger. People, I guess, maybe were hoping Garrick would go to the wing, but I mean, Tommy Talau is like 270k, so another potential cheapish player coming up. And again, you can get another week to look at Tommy Talau before a price rise. So, I mean, it depends how long Saab's out for, but a hamstring injury is a bit of a nightmare, especially for a guy like Saab that needs speed to be relevant at all. So, I mean, Talau on the wing for Manly, it's a prize position. Is he going to be that good though? I mean, I know people don't like Saab, but I mean, Saab he's good for he's not good defensively. Don't get me wrong, but like he is good attacking wise for Manly on the wing just because of his height and his speed. You know, I know he got run down by fucking Elias, but he is quick. Tommy Talau is definitely not that quick, so he'll get half chances, but will he be able to capitalize? Maybe. I think he should be able to score well. Like, surely. If Tommy Trbojevic is firing, then he should go okay. But yeah, we can have a bit of a look on Tommy Talau. I do like him as a player. I think he could turn into a pretty solid player at Manly if he gets a bit of a crack at it. Anyone else of note? Obviously Ben Trbojevic. No Schuster still. And the bench is the same. Yeah, nothing doing there. The Roosters, obviously the big one, Spencer Leniu is out. And Dom Young comes in, but Billy Smith is out. It doesn't say he's out, but yeah, Billy Smith played. He played last week, right? It's honestly worked out perfectly for the Roosters. I know it's bad to see, but like Dom Young was out for round 1, and it was going to be a headache. Like, who he replaces? Because who were they going to drop? Tupou, Suoli'i, or Billy Smith? It was probably going to be Billy Smith, and now Billy Smith is out injured when Dom Young is back, so he slots straight into the wing. It honestly worked out like perfectly for him. He didn't have to make a tough call on any of it. So it's a strong back line. It's a very strong back five for the Roosters. The obviously same halves. So yes, Hargraves does come into the starting team. Maybe people were hoping Terrell May started, but I mean, I don't think it really changes how many minutes he will get, or at least his impact. And yeah, I mean, Hargraves is always going to get the starting spot, I think. And yeah, okay. Honestly, I forgot about these two as well. But yes, Tupanua and Sia Wong have both been named, which is... I'm so happy that Tupanua has been named, because it just... his price, like 390k, and he was on track to probably play the full 80. I mean, he might have got a late switch off, but he played the first 40 minutes straight. He came back out for the second, and obviously he had that injury, so he went off. But like at 390k, if Tupanua is playing big minutes, like he's a lock, dude. He's such a lock. Yeah, there's not much else to say. Like I'm so glad he's named. Hopefully he's right, because I just want to see what the minutes are going to look like, because they were both fucking injured. So we don't really know what the minutes were going to look like with the back rowers. But I'm just hoping Tupanua plays big minutes, and if he does, I'm definitely not going to trade him out, because yeah, the price is too juicy for Tupanua, I think. And I think the Roosters could put on some points this year. I think they could get back to their attacking best. And then the bench is the same. So yeah, Sanders Smith still there, White, Butcher, and Terrell May. I mean, it's just, yeah, Hargraves comes in for Lenu. So again, it's the same. With Dom Young coming in, like, he didn't have to make a decision, and now with Lenu going out and Hargraves coming in, he didn't have to drop someone either. He didn't have to drop like a White, so it works out perfectly. Connor Watson's still 18th man. I don't really understand this. I mean, maybe it's just because he's had so many long-term injuries lately. In the last couple of seasons, he's just thinking we'll just work him into the season, but fuck me. I mean, Connor Watson is too good not to be in this team. Like, he is... Come on, he's far better than Sanders Smith. Give me a break. But yeah, I'm sure we'll see him sooner rather than later. But yeah, that's these two teams done. What's the last game of the round? Oh, another classic. The fucking Dolphins Dragons. Oh man, another absolute beauty to watch. Let's have a look here. So. Okay, so a couple of changes. We got Jake Averillo in for Tessie New, which, I mean, I think everyone sort of expected Averillo to be the man this year. I think, you know, he looked very good at the back end of last year for the Doggies. It seemed like a great signing for the Dolphins. And it seemed very strange that Tessie sort of won the spot over Averillo. So it's good to see him there. I think he can hopefully he finds that best form and really cements his spot. I would love to see it, because I mean, the Dolphins backline, it could be very, very good to watch if they just get on par. You know, if they just get on form, it could be very, very exciting. Zay Katoa replaces Sean O'Sullivan. I don't think it was an injury. Has he just been dropped? Which would be, again, it's a big call to drop your halfback. And, I mean, the young kid did well last year. He was very solid. So, don't hate it. I don't hate it. I think he'll be better for the run. And then the forward pack, I don't think there's any... Oh, yeah, obviously Connolly Lemuelu is out. So, Ewan Aiken comes in. Max Plath comes straight in for Ray Stone. Oh, I think Max Plath is just 5'8" on Supercoach, which is such a pain in the ass. I don't know when they do their updates for like dual status, but if Ray Stone's out for a while, man, you'd love to try to get in Max Plath, surely. Actually, no. The more I think Stone, I think it was just a head knock, right? I'll look into it. I'm sure. I think it was just a concussion though, so probably don't expect a bit. He looked good. I mean, I don't know what he scored. I think he scored okay actually, but he looked good when he came off the bench for them. So I don't know. As a cheapie goes, I don't think he's the worst. And then the Dragons. So same back line, forward pack. So yeah, Blake Laurie comes into the starting team. So Tom Eisenhuth goes to the back row and Jack DeBellin to lock. And then the bench. So Mel Halzen's still there, Michael Mollo, Vasala Mariner, and Luciano Leilua. So Jesus Christ. And then Viliami Fafita goes to 18th man, which I know people who started Fafita are probably annoyed by this, but I'm going to tell you something. You have been blessed here. Honestly, Fafita becoming just enough dual front row 2RF, that's perfect. Because he's not going to... if he was named on the bench, he is not going to get the minutes to get any money. He might make 50K. That's it at most. So for people that are upset that Fafita is out of the team, honestly, you've been dealt a beautiful service, because you can just use him as a loop. Like, you'd never want to play him, and he's not going to make any money. So I think this is perfect for you guys that started with him, and I wish I started with him now, because he's enough. But yeah, so there was a lot of... I mean, Fatala Mariner became like relevant last week. He looked extremely good in the back row, but obviously like Lua was the issue. Also, Blake Laurie coming back, Tom Eisenhuth. I'm surprised by this as well, because Eisenhuth does do a job on the edge, but he played through the middle last week and he was really good. And I think for the most part of his career, he's been much better when he's played through the middle. And you've got two genuine back rowers, and Fatala Mariner was excellent last week. And then Leilua, I mean, obviously he hasn't played for a while, but like, he's a genuine back row as well who's signed on big money. So I'm a little surprised Eisenhuth isn't on the bench and you've started with one of these guys, but I don't know. I guess he's going for a very defensive start, which fair enough. The Dragons are going to be a defensive-minded team this year. You're starting with a guy like Eisenhuth who's just rock solid. So I get it, but yeah, it puts a bit of a dagger through Fatala Mariner, which, I mean, with Leilua, even if he got the start this week, having Leilua on the bench, it would have just been you couldn't go Fatala Mariner. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I mean, Jacob Little, I still think is pretty good. He played big minutes last week. It's just so damn annoying that he had that hamstring niggle coming into the game, because I was so keen on starting him. But the fact he had that niggle, you just couldn't take the punt. Well, I couldn't. I know some people did, and they got rewarded. You still got the backup, but yeah, he played like 70 minutes, and he looked really good. And they got a good matchup again against the Dolphins. So it's a good start for the Dragons, and a few of these guys could go big again, like a Zach Lomax. But yeah, that's pretty much team list done and dusted. I think that was definitely everyone, right? Last game of the round, Dolphins, Dragons. Yeah, that'll do it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the team list discussion. Obviously, I'll be back. I'll obviously be back before the first game. It'll probably, the video will come out like a Thursday, where I do like my team preview. I'll actually go through my team and talk about options, talk about future plans, this and that, and trades we're looking at. So yeah, make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.